So I have off today and I'm doing some chores around the house, and in the process I came up with a project that I think I should film. I got some pretty good feedback on my last video, so I decided maybe give this YouTube thing a try. I'm working up a sweat. I got some ribs in the oven, so the whole kitchen is super hot. But I have some craft supplies I like to hoard, coffee cans being one of them. And so I started bringing stuff downstairs to put away. And in the process, realizing that my craft station is in desperate need of a cleaning. So I figured, why not make a video organizing some of my craft stuff and talking into camera a bit. So first funny thing I'm realizing is because I'm so tall, I hold the camera like this, and you end up looking at the ceiling the whole time. So I have to try and hold it like this, so that lighting is better and the angle's better. But yeah, let me sit this way so you get a nice pretty boat. So I guess filming is going to be my first challenge here. I don't know how I'm going to hold the camera in a way that shows what I'm doing, so let me figure that out. So I have these coffee cans. I have all kinds of containers hiding up top, and more coffee cans, and cardboard tubes, and craft sticks, and things that I like to save for doing different projects, and happy huskies. It ends up, I get a pile upstairs that I then need to bring downstairs, that I then need to put into there, and sometimes things get stuck in one of those stages and things get messy quickly. So I'm gonna get these bins I took down away, and then I'll start tackling this pile. But I need to figure out a better way to try and film this first. And man, I'm sweaty. Ugh. Second thing I'm realizing is that I shouldn't shoot a YouTube video after working up a sweat from cleaning half the house. So maybe we'll switch this camera around and go from there. I don't know how I'm gonna hold the camera while doing this, and I don't really have a mount for my cell phone, so I'm gonna come over and grab a camera bag and dust off the GoPro, and probably need an SD card and battery, and figure out a way of mounting the GoPro so that I can do this without holding the camera the whole time. Well, here's my first idea. I had a GoPro and I had a GoPro mount, but I don't really want to use this. I don't want the brim in the shot, and I don't really want to wear a helmet the whole time. So back to the drawing board. So I guess I could put the helmet on the desk, and the GoPro's a really wide angle, so that might work. But I think I have something that might work better. Excuse me, Thor. Yeah. I have to excuse the disaster that is my garage right now, since that's something else I'm in the middle of reorganizing since finishing my table. But I just took this off, and I think I might be able to use this as an articulating GoPro mount. I don't know why I said that so dramatically. Alright, so I think this might work. And since I know GoPros don't really like low light, and I got some can lights right here, but actually, let me see how much brighter they get. Oh, they're up all the way. So it's good back here, but I don't know if the GoPro mounted on here is gonna have enough light. But conveniently, this has a light built in. So I think I might just stick a mount right on here and see how that works. First, I have to dig into the camera bag again and see if I can find a mount. Well, I think this is gonna work. It gives me all kinds of adjustability. It's a little jankier than I intended. I only had a flat mount instead of a curved one, so it's not attached as good as I'd want. And then I didn't missing, come on, focus. There we go. One of the screw things, so I had to come up with my own screw and spacer situation to be able to use this extra arm piece. And then the back of the case, there's another back that has holes in it so the audio is better. And that's been floating around for years. And of course, now that I have a use for it, I can't find it. So we're going to use fancy Scotch tape, which I'm now realizing that I didn't put a battery or SIM card in. Not SIM card. It's not a phone. It's a GoPro. They use SD cards. So I'm going to take this tape off and make sure my GoPro is locked and loaded and ready to roll. It didn't work. After my last video, I putzed around with my GoPro for another hour or so, trying to get the firmware updated and SIM card working, and I got frustrated, put it down, and I did nothing that I intended to do. So it's another day, another snow day, and I'm going to try this again, but instead of messing with the GoPro, I think I'm just going to use my same setup, but we're going to go back to trusty clamp, and I'm just going to clamp my phone. Oh, I'm not very good at this whole thing. Clamp my phone to this or somehow make that work. Oh well. Alright, I got my mount set up. It's working pretty good. It's a little wobbly, but it'll have to do. I'm shooting this video for a couple reasons. I wanted to get a little more practice talking to the camera and editing video, which, if you don't know, I absolutely hate editing video. Like, so much so that I haven't made videos in years because I hate editing so much. So I figure I should probably get better at it, and this is a good way of doing so. I'm just gonna start here. I have this bin, which is mostly my hardware, like grommets and some safety pins, mostly different size grommets, Chicago screws, some bungees, Velcro, patches, bias tape, and all my bins are kind of organized, and I like to say when I organize things is just put things with their friends. So everything is kit mentality. I have a tool bag upstairs for housework. I have my automotive tools together. I have craft stuff together. And this is kind of my craft toolkit. So I kind of keep this stuff together. So this is sewing accessories, zippers, clamps, grommet stuff, you name it. So that's the first thing I'm going to do is kind of get rid of some of this stuff. A lot of it is trash. Got a little first aid patch I made. More trash. Actually, this looks like a piece of trash, but I use this as like a fid, which is kind of like a basically a sewing needle type thing where I can thread like paracord or something bigger through this and then feed this through something else. I don't know. I made it at some point to do that, so I'm going to keep it. So I think this is pretty much done. And the rest is what I have. So this is kind of exploded over time. Keep this out. Here's another same thing. I think I use this for splicing am steel, which is an aramid string cord. They use it for synthetic toe straps and stuff like that. But it's kind of like a Chinese finger trap, and you can feed it through itself to splice it. So I just use a piece of wire as my needle to do that. I have thread. For a gift one year, my mom gave me a bunch of cigar boxes. So this one is thread. Wire. So I have some glue. I'm going to put that with some other glue. I guess I kind of just arrange all this stuff like that. So I have drafting supplies here. I don't use these often, so they're going to go back in my drafting kit. Scale. You know, those can stay there. Those guys. So this station is like, I do like hot gluing, sewing. I have my sewing machine sitting right here. design work, I have pads and paper over here. So when I'm drawing out ideas for stained glass, you name it, that's the stuff I'm doing in here. You've got my rotary cutters for cutting fabrics and stuff. Anything that's generating sawdust or fumes and stuff like that, I do in the garage. But so like I said, I'm gonna kind of kit things here. I'm doing it while I talk, but basically I have tools, I have writing utensils, I have cutting tools, scissors, rotary tools, X-Acto knives. And so for my X-Acto knives, I just have a chunk of foam. I got a needle in here too. And that just gets kind of put in the corner there. I have extra X-Acto blades. Those will go in there. Any of you who sew know that if you have fabric scissors, you really don't want to use them for anything else. Paper, stuff like that dulls these scissors really fast. So like these are sewing. These are also for sewing. And then I have my like craft scissors. I'll use these for anything that's not cloth material or I'm trying to keep them pristine. Same thing with the rotary cutters. That's what the mat's for. Cutting materials. Both of these need new blades, but they work. So, couple things. What is this? I think this is a toolkit for fixing phones. There's so much dust and stuff in the garage. If I'm replacing a battery or something like that on a cell phone, I do that in here. Same thing with this. We have, I think this is fine tweezers, kind of stuff I would need in here. I think I took a set out of here and have it in the garage for other things. More drafting supplies. So one of my favorite things for drafting, maybe I'll do a video just on my drafting supplies. This is an eraser, and this is an eraser guard. So when you're drawing and you make a mistake or you're cleaning up some of your lines, you can cover stuff that you don't want to erase and erase the things you do with this. And it's really, really handy. You know what? I have a lot. This is a foam tool. A lot of pens and stuff. And no, there's a bungee. This is a caddy I got from IKEA. It has a bungee that runs around the outside. I really like it just for organizing my stuff here on the desk. But if I stick all the pens in here, they're just gonna kind of fall around, and there's not enough room in this bungee to put them in there. So I'm gonna see if I have a jar or something. I don't. I have a cardboard tube. So why don't we do that? Works. Tape. I have a lot of tape floating around without a dispenser, but it's all right. So this is as down and dirty, as simple as it gets, but whatever works, right? All I need to do is hold some pens. And yeah, I think I'll do another video on just drafting stuff, if you're interested. Because there's some neat tools for that. What is stuck in here? Oh. Alright, then I can take pencils, put them in one. So this is a mechanical drafting pencil, but it's a pretty thick lead, and then I have a bunch of different density leads to use in here. And then to sharpen it, it's a sandpaper, piece of sandpaper. So just keep that in there too. And then we have mechanical pencils, regular pencils. We'll do lead and another one. Maybe markers. And then actually with the markers, this is for marking fabric when I'm sewing. More pencils, more mechanical pencils actually. these guys are going to stay handy. So a lot of times I'll kit stuff together and, again, put things with their friends. And then I will go back and I'll take out stuff that I use a lot. So I have a pen, I have my mechanical pencil, and I have a Sharpie, and those I use the most, along with my eraser. This is for ripping stitches. He can go with his sharp cutting tool friends. And then tools. We can go with tool friends. Screwdrivers. This is a set of like eyeglass screwdrivers and stuff. And then these are all I use for oiling my and maintaining my sewing machine. Something else, I really like magnets. I want to get more of these rare earth magnets, whatever they're called. When I'm sewing and I need to singe the end of some webbing or string, the lighter comes in handy. I have a dispenser somewhere for that. Pens, and sharpener can just live in there. Actually, that would be another good thing to have a magnet. Oh, it's lost. I think it's aluminum. Yeah. Oh well. You can just live in there. And then another I use for like black fabrics and stuff. In the back, this is a two-sided tape I use in place of pinning. I don't know, a lot of you probably don't sew. If you sew, one of the most tedious things about sewing is pinning the fabric in place before you sew it. And I hate doing that. The only thing I hate more than pinning is ripping stitches. So if you mess up, you have to go back and you have to cut the stitches. And if you thought the sewing was tedious, pulling out stitches one stitch at a time is even more tedious. So those two things, I make it a little quicker by using this double-sided tape. It's really strong. It holds the materials in place, and I use that a lot. And then I have my little magnifying glass man for doing really fine work. Some super glue, and then my other glues are back here. This is like for putting screens back on phones, but it's really useful. It's like a flexible super glue almost. And it has this great needle applicator for getting glue in really tiny spots. So that can live with his glue friends. I have a tape measure and my cloth tape. He'll just live together. Here. I'm not going to go crazy with this because I generally just throw it in a heap. In the back, my eraser guards go in here. There's just a clip. And I have a spot for this stuff. I don't need this scrap. Go in the trash. Wire business. Go with tools. And that's pretty much it. And then as I use stuff, it'll get rearranged in terms of efficiency. If I don't use half the stuff here, it might go in a toolbox outside. Like I have pens in here. This is trash that I don't use. The eraser on this is probably crud, but that's okay. Things will get replaced or upgraded over time, but for what I use this workspace for, this is pretty much everything I use. Otherwise, I'm going in the garage, and it lives on the back. I have a project here. I'm going to do some kind of waterfall. Still gathering materials for this. And then, let me see if I can adjust the camera. Oh, my cloth will go in my cloth bin. So I have all my extra materials here. Well, not all of them. One bin worth of extra materials. This table is actually just a door on two sawhorses, and that allows me to keep all my bins underneath. It's a nice level surface, big enough that I can lay out fabrics and stuff. But I did that epoxy pour on the sewing machine table kind of as a trial run, because at some point I have my computer desk and stuff to the left, and actually there's another desk that just has office supplies on it right now. that I want to build a table that kind of takes care of all this. It's a computer desk. I can have all my sewing machine, all my craft supplies, and while this works really well, it's not particularly aesthetically pleasing. And this is a hollow door, so I can't really push on it. There's where the doorknob goes. But I think I can do something better and nicer looking and more functional. So that's going to be a project down the line too. Thanks for hanging out with me while I blah, blah, blah. Thanks for hanging out with me. Blah, 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 blah. Thanks for hanging out with me while I organize my. I can't do this. Why is this? Is this normal? Like fuck. Thanks for hanging out with me while I organize my sewing station. I hope you enjoyed. If there's anything in particular that you want to see, let me know in the comments, and I'll do my best to dive further into detail on that. And I'll give you a quick once-over of how things look now that my anxiety levels have returned to normal. Thanks. And here we are, a little bit better organized and cleaned up. I still got to go through these drawers and stuff down here, but this is the camera mount that I ended up going with. I just clamped it to the GoPro mount, and then that's clamped to the armoire, and it provided light and a good angle, so it worked. It's not the best, but hey, you do with what you can with what you can't, what you have. Man, I can't talk.